Hey there, hockey fans. Welcome to 97 Octane Hockey, featuring our dynamic trio of hosts, Kirk Morris, Bob Schmidt, and Mike Dursa. The boys are cranking up the heat on Oilers Talk, bringing you the hot takes from power plays to hat tricks, with special guests and insider insights. It's hockey talk that takes the game to a whole new level. Get ready for a wild ride through the highs and lows of Oilers hockey. Buckle up, Oilers faithful. This is 97 Octane Hockey.
Welcome to episode 37 and another edition of 97 Octane Hockey's Monday Night Raw. I'm joined tonight by Kirk Morris and Bob Schmidt, and I'm thrilled to be with you for another exciting episode, or so we say. We have a lot to talk about today, but first let's give a huge round of applause to the Edmonton Oilers, who have just extended their franchise and Canadian NHL franchise's record winning streak to 13 games. They keep rolling. That's right. The Oilers are on fire, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. The Oilers are looking like a serious Stanley Cup contender, like everybody thought they would be all year long, except for that start. The Oilers made a transaction this morning, signing veteran shit disturber and former Stanley Cup champion Corey Perry. But the Oilers aren't the only reason to celebrate today, because we have two very special ladies joining us. They are both diehard Oilers fans, and they are also two of the organizers of the Oilers Girls' Night, a fantastic event that brings together the women's hockey community, which, like the Heavy Hockey Showdown, also raises money for SACE. We welcome Lynn Merceau and Jen Roble. Lynn and Jen, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you. I've been courting Jen for a long time to do this, and she finally said yes and got Lynn to tag along. So we're excited to have you both on the show and want to hear more about your love of the Oilers and your amazing work with the Oilers Girls' Night. How are you both feeling tonight? And we'll let the first-time caller, long-time listener, Lynn, tackle that first, and then Jen can go.
Well, Mike, you and I go way back. I like to tell this story every time someone asks me about you. He does not, or he didn't know this at the time, but Mike was sort of, was it Twitter Live that you were doing that show, Mike, like years ago?
Yeah.
And Mike was kind of that voice in the dark of sanity for me, that I didn't feel like it was minus 30 outside. It was in the middle of winter, and I was struggling with some sleep issues. And like I tell him all the time, he didn't know this, but he sort of saved my sanity that first winter that you did that show. I would pop in, you would let me make song requests. I think I would always request the same song. And I've always had a soft spot for you. You've been a really good friend to me, so I appreciate you having us on tonight.
We get canceled for playing music we're not supposed to now, so we have to watch that.
Song request tonight?
I did use Foo Fighters Heroes for your guys' kind of theme picture that I made up, though, to kind of promote the show. So there you go.
Well, thanks.
Well, I have been called the song of our generation, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, Bobby can serenade you, and Kirk can DJ it. He can work some records back there.
I couldn't help but notice how Lynn, you mentioned that you had some sleep issues there, and then you listened to Dursa. Yeah, I know Dursa puts a lot of people to sleep.
Yeah, and that was put on a tee for you, Bobby. You can thank Lynn later.
Oh, man. It's almost like we rehearsed it.
I would say
earlier to tell that story.
Oh man, so how you feeling, Jen?
Oh, I am like that green puke emoji right now. way out of my comfort zone, but it'll be okay, I think.
Yeah, you're going to be just fine. You're going to rock this. Might as well get into something a little bit fun right off the bat. We'll ask you both, how did you become Oilers fans? Was it love at first sight, or did it take some convincing? And Jen, you can take that first, and then Lynn.
Oh, like my entire life, my grandma would like put me beside her newspaper as she read it. And as a 6-month-old, I would clap when she got to the sports section, and I'd pick out pictures of Wayne Gretzky everywhere. So I was just born into it.
Go ahead, Lynn.
For me, it was really my dad and my desire to do anything my dad was doing when I was a little girl. He took me to my first game when I was 8, and as those of you who know me well know, I was a massive daddy's girl. So he needed someone to go with one night, and my mom recommended he take me, and he didn't really want to, but he did, and then we continued to go together to every game until he passed away in 2011. So he sort of created a monster.
A good one.
A good one.
The next thing I was gonna ask too is if you guys have a favorite memory, both positive and negative. We'll go around the other way. Lynn can take that, and then Jen.
I can never remember the year, but the playoffs where we were getting our butts handed to us in a game, and they came back, and was it Buckberger scored? It
was against Dallas.
Yes.
90s.
Oh, the comeback. We won 4-3.
Yeah. Because people were leaving. The building was half empty.
Yeah.
I remember that. I think we won that in overtime, and I was actually in standing room with my uncle, and I could, by the end of the second period come along, he asked me if I wanted another beer, and I believe that was an afternoon game too, and we were outside of I don't think it was called Rexall at that time, but we were outside there, and I think it was around noon, like they were started serving draft beer, and I think the game started at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and by the second period, I can't have any more. I'm done. I can't stand. So yeah, but I do remember that one.
It started to empty out in the third period, and then they scored, and then they scored again, and you could see people like slowly, because in those days you could leave and come back, sort of thing, and you could see people like streaming back into the building, and yeah, that really stands out for me.
It's funny you mentioned that one, Lynn, because that's 1997, and it was because of that game is why I've never since stopped watching an Oiler game like in progress, no matter what the score is. It kind of made me believe like anything's possible with the blue and orange.
Totally fair comment.
What do you got, Jen?
Oh, I thought we were telling worst also memories, but I have so many good memories. Like I got to work at Rexall and Skyreach Place, and just like every night it was a dream job. It was perfect. But in 1990, I remember specifically when we were in the playoffs that my sister and I, Sandra, we would decorate my grandma's driveway with like Oiler symbols and Stanley Cup symbols, and it was just really a really fun time. And I can't wait for another one of those. I'll get my kinders out there decorating the sidewalk with the same.
So our good friend, Mr. Name Cardinal, has to have a new favorite number every Monday, and now 13 is his new favorite number. We love you, Name.
Lucky 13, and it's on episode 37, the Warren Fogle one.
Yeah. How about that guy, hey?
How about that guy?
I'd like to see him back here next year. Figure out a way to make that happen, please. So this is a fun one for both of you, and Lynn could take this one first. But if you could have a hall pass with any current or former Oilers player for dinner, who would it be and why? Had to clarify that.
For dinner?
Or more, whatever.
Cody Ceci.
Jen literally had the green puke face going there at that time.
Cody Ceci.
Yeah.
I heard that. These other two were too busy thinking about what Jen's going to say, but Cody Ceci. There we go.
Oh, well, I pick Wayne Gretzky. I would love to hang out with Wayne Gretzky. I've never met him. When I was working as an usher, he dropped the ceremonial puck in a Dallas Oilers playoff game. I cannot remember the year. And he walked past me and I like almost peed my pants. So I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think I would have the same reaction. Most like professional athletes that I come across, I'm cool as a cucumber, but Wayne would
Right.
probably ruin it for me.
Well, the closest I ever got was, I've been 30 feet from Wayne Gretzky when he was a coach for the Coyotes then. I happen to know Shane Doan back then at least. But Grant Fuhr was their goalie coach, and he's one of the goalie idols. It's the first time I've been so totally starstruck since I was a kid that I think at one point I may have dry humped his leg. I'm not sure.
Do either one of you have any crazy superstitions when it comes to the Oilers? Jen,
Yes.
you can go first, and then Lynn.
Okay, my current superstition, which is just losing me a lot of money, and it started in our like first playoffs against the Kings because I was just so nervous that we were going to blow it. Game 7, of course, that I was like, I can't control any of that, but what I can control is that I'm going to bet on this game and I'm going to pick the Kings. So at least if they win, I'll feel like, well, at least I won something. So in many, many games since then that I thought we were going to blow, including the last one, I bet on the opposing team to win. And most of them have worked out in the Oilers' favor, but not my pocketbook's favor.
Running on the reverse psychology and
Yeah.
driving yourself broke at the same time.
Worth it. It is worth it.
We're gonna have to set up a GoFundMe page for her, I think.
What do you got, Lynn? Did we lose her?
No, I'm back.
Oh, superstition.
I'm not a superstitious person at all. So
Not even a little stitious?
not even a little bit stitious. I feel like whatever will be. So I've never been superstitious.
Any ritual then?
The same thing, Dursa.
Well, kind of, but maybe.
I mean, I don't feel like it's a secret that I'm not quite, as invested as I probably was a few years ago. But no, I've never really, no, honestly, no. I can't think of anything like there was never like a favorite shirt or favorite jersey or I have to wear this or do this or sit here or I'm honestly way too forgetful to stick to anything like that. So I've never really had any ritual superstition. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I for the longest time I didn't think I was really superstitious, but I seem to have things that I do that seem to be a pattern and I don't really stray from it. And then I start thinking, well, if I don't do this, like I didn't want to talk about Dash saying that the Oilers were going to run the table in January because I thought if I talked about it, that would curse them and then they wouldn't run the table in January. So, but we've talked about it a lot and they keep winning. So I got to keep talking about it. So it's just funny little stuff. Maybe we should go through kind of the girls' night too, and let you guys talk about it. I'll pull up the graphic that Jen can't see, but so basically the girls came up with an idea to have an event where it's kind of Oilers girls all get together, and this year it's on April the 6th, 2024. There's a Battle of Alberta that day as well, and proceeds and kind of trying to raise money for SACE, just like the Heavy Hockey Showdown. And later in April, or the end of March, we'll try to get the girls back on the Monday, kind of before their event, if they're up for it. And Jen's sister, Krista, hopefully can join then too. We were trying to get her tonight, but had a previous engagement. But I guess I'll let Lynn and Jen go on the girls' night, and they can talk about that.
Jen?
Okay, awesome. So our very first girls' night was like 6 years ago now, and
Wow.
with 2 years gone because of COVID, it doesn't really feel like it, but this will be our 4th event coming up. And it started out as like just kind of like a Twitter meetup, what we did 6 years ago, right? And it became a debut party for our friend Allie, who plays in your Heavy Hockey Showdown. I actually think she's a 2-time winner, possibly, if you want to remember that when you're drafting. And then we thought, well, we can make this into a fundraiser. So at first we were raising money for like the Canadian version of You Can Play. And then the second year we did the same. And then after COVID and after, things came to light about Hockey Canada players and others that we decided we really think that a way where we can feel good about watching hockey and supporting hockey is by doing good and donating to the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. So we changed our charity. We teamed up with you guys and everybody in heavy hockey, and it was incredible. It was amazing. So I love it. I'm proud of it. I love the concept of it because I love watching hockey with other girls. I barely have that beyond my own family and my best friend Tracy. So I love all of it.
And I think, getting involved with the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton was a really good move for us because unfortunately they're not funded well by the Alberta government. And they had approached the Oilers about being the 50-50 charity of choice on more than one occasion and were turned down. And Jen and myself and Krista felt like this was a chance for us to make a difference, not just as hockey fans, but as human beings. Because this, sadly, we all know someone. We may not know it right this second, but we all know someone who's been affected by it. And I don't know if you guys have met Mary Jane James yet, but after you spend 5 minutes with her, she's the CEO of SACE. And I'm thinking, Mike, if we can, it would be great to try and get her on at some point.
Yeah, I think like if you guys are open to it, kind of the closest Monday to your event. I don't know the calendar that far, but getting Krista and her on with you two is probably a great idea.
I think I can safely say for both Jen and myself that you can spend 5 minutes with MJ and feel like a world beater. She is incredibly inspiring. And, we knew that we wanted to do whatever we could to try and support the organization. And then for you guys to back it up has just been an incredible boost for them. Every time I see her, she is overwhelmed by how much we've been able to get done. And through social media, like none of us would know each other if it wasn't for social media. And that's kind of the incredible part to her. So I think I think it's just been unbelievable what we've been able to do. And Jen has an amazing capacity to want to do more. Just when I think that we can't possibly fit something else in, Jen wants to figure out a way to do it. And that's also pretty inspiring at the end of the day. So
you're so sweet because we're basically the same person. So I feel that way about you too.
I mean, it's turned out to be a pretty good partnership. There are times when we're gearing up for this event that I talk to Jen more than anybody else in my life. That text chain goes pretty strong some nights. But yeah, I mean, but I don't want to, what you guys were even able to pull off last year was just incredible.
Yeah, it's really transitioned into quite the weekend. I this time around I took an extra day because it becomes a lot trying to come home to Grand Prairie after playing hockey on a Sunday this time around. But it's wonderful. Like it's a fun time. Not only do you get to meet all kinds of people from Twitter and stuff and just Oiler fans, but you're really helping an organization that really needs your help and looks forward to it. And, at the end of the day, you basically help to save people's lives. I mean, there's people that end up at SACE that are in dire straits. So we are more than happy to help and do what we can to raise as much as we can for them. I guess now that's a good segue to go to Bobby's page that I kind of made up. So there's a QR code for Bob's personal page there.
Look at that. That's like a picture. That's like a picture from the Sunshine Boy they used to have. Hey, look at that.
I look like I'm 5'6", and Bob's look like he's like 7 feet tall in this picture. I don't know what's going on there, but
it's
I
like,
don't think we're that.
it's like Yamo and Day
I don't know
Renee.
what the story is here because I'm 6'1", and I don't think Bobby's 6'10", but definitely looks that way. But if you want to scan that QR code with the little dinosaur, that should work and take you to Bob's page, and you can support him to try to reach his goal and to try to help SACE as much as you can. And at the end of the night, I'll post my page as well. And one day I'll have to make one of these up for my kid as well because he's also playing in the game and trying to raise money too. So we're all just trying to help each other and help SACE and do the best we can. And
I appreciate you putting that one up there, Dursa. Lynn, I want to touch a little bit on what you said about Mary Jane. If I'm not mistaken, didn't she give a bit of a speech at our event? Yeah, I thought that was her, and it was very powerful speech. Like you could hear or feel the passion in her voice for what she's doing and what the organization is doing, and just also just how thankful she was for everyone that was gathered here just to help support it. It was a moving experience, and I'm so glad that Heavy Hockey decided to stick with that charity event.
Yeah, she's an incredible human being, and what she's chosen to do with her life, I think, like I said earlier, Jen and I both find really inspiring. And she really couldn't be more grateful. I was fortunate enough to see her a couple of times over the summer, and she still just finds it hard to imagine what a bunch of people have been able to put together and for them. So yeah, it like I said, unfortunately, they're not funded well by the provincial government, especially the current one. And I'll say it, I don't care. And MJ would tell you the same thing. And they need all the help they can get. And I think sometimes with an organization like SACE, people assume it's mainly female based in the sense that it's women that use it, but it just simply is not. It's a safe haven for anybody who needs it. So, the more we can do for them, the better.
I'd like to add to your comment there, Lynn, because I don't think most people that watch this understand that SACE stands for the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton, but SACE does not only serve Edmonton and the city of Edmonton. It basically serves all of northern Alberta. So even here in Grand Prairie, that is the place that would give you the help you would need. Basically, a healthcare service that should be funded more by the Alberta government, but seems to get overlooked. And I think her name is Kirsten Raworth. The other day, posted that SACE basically saved her life, and she's not alone. So they need all the help they can get. So that's why we do what we do and have a fun hockey game at the same time and put it together with that. And it makes for a good weekend. And, that's why we do it. Yeah. Kirk, it's time for you to ask a question, big guy.
Oh heck. I just woke up here. I'm sorry. I was caught off guard. What's your favorite memory just over the last while, like with the ladies' nights, just going back? Like, is there one? Is it just the whole event as a whole, or just hanging out at the games? The hockey games are awesome, let alone like hanging out with your best friends, and just kind of go more in depth, like just as far as like I said, favorite memory, like in the last 6 events that you ladies have had. Just kind of shine a light on that, if you don't mind. There, Lynn, you can go first, and then Jen, you can go after.
Mine, as soon as you started to ask the question, I knew what mine was. It was when in 2019, actually, when Jen turned to me and said, "Oh my God, we're trending on Twitter right now." And I remember us both sort of looking at each other in almost in disbelief, because when you're working the event, there is no time to look at your phone. You're completely unaware of what's going on. And, you there's so much that goes into planning the event, and then it's over in the blink of an eye, really. and sometimes you're not always aware. And there was so much support from, at the time, you guys were awesome about helping us get the word out, because you guys hadn't started doing your event yet. And we had so much support from the local community, and to look at training in Canada and see Girls' Night was a really special thing for us. So that's definitely mine.
That's an awesome memory. I think my favorite is just like every time I see the silent auction come together and it's all out there, and I'm just like, everyone is incredible. Everybody donated this all to us, and everyone who's at the event is bidding on all this stuff just to raise money for the charities that we've chosen. And Sexual Assault Center, when we met MJ for the first time, we just had like a little lunch meeting, and like her jaw was like on the floor. She's like, "You're gonna do what? You have people who want to watch hockey and donate to us?" Like, it was just like, I get kind of chills just thinking about that, because we were able to help in that way. And just by doing something we would have probably done anyway, just hang out and watch a game together.
I gotta ask a quick question. Are those Rexall numbers on your wall there?
Yeah, that was my section. I was the usher in 114, 116
Nice.
when I was in university.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So Darren from Acadia, he hooked me up with those ones. He's decorated Acadia Brewing with them, and that's where I bought them from.
Wow, nice.
I have some in my living room too. Ryan.
We can't see, Len. We can't see.
I know I'm not on camera, but you guys all know Ryan, and he was, it was an incredible gesture. He was able, through Darren at Arcadia, to get my dad's section numbers for me as a gift.
Man.
As a surprise.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What section was that, Len?
234.
Beauty.
So I guess now's a good time to cut to our commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the transaction that happened today, what's going down in Bakersfield, and this streak that these guys are on, and how far can they take it. We'll be back in 3.5 minutes after the fastest commercial break there ever was. Thanks for being here for the first half of our show, 97 Octane Hockey. It's your passion that fuels our game. We will be back in 3 minutes to refuel after the fastest commercial on ice.
I'm Connor McDavid.
How would you describe your game?
I think just speed. I think that's the main thing. My game is all about speed. Speed with the puck. I think a lot of guys have a tendency to, when they get the puck, slow down and want to look for a play and all that. But I think if you could do all that, all with skating, it makes it pretty dangerous.
Edmonton Oilers would like to select with their first pick from the Erie Otters, Connor McDavid.
Under pressure, no more time. Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose? 'Cause I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things we could do. If you gave me one more sign, I could find a way to break through, a way to break through.
He's a tough
Yeah.
act to follow. Did we lose Jen?
We did.
Looks like it.
Wonder if she can reconnect.
She texted me during the break, and I think she's exiting for the
Okay.
night.
Okay.
Her son, I don't know if you noticed towards the end of that first part, he made a guest appearance. So
Oh, I didn't even see.
I think she's needed elsewhere.
Okay. Well, while you're busy making plans, life happens, so we adjust on the fly. So, since the last time we talked, we've rattled off wins against the Leafs, the Kraken, and the Flames, up to 13 straight, and 3 games on tap this week. Does Calvin Pickard see a game before the All-Star break? We'll go Kirk, Bob, and then Lynn.
I think that he's going to play tomorrow night. Either that or Chicago. You would think, like, they can't keep putting out Skinner. I know he's won 10 in a row, but eventually you got to give him a break. Like, load management 101. Like, I'm and going in, with Campbell going down, you had to expect that he was going to get the brunt of the goaltending duties, but at the same time, like, I hate to sound like a broken record once again, but you got to take care. Like, you have to play your backup. It's just mandatory. Like, I don't know. What do you figure there, Bob?
I think Tony Brar actually tweeted out today too that if you went by observations on the practice, that Pickard was actually in the starter's net in the practice today. So, and I kind of figured if he didn't see the Calgary game, which I was kind of hoping he'd be in the Calgary game, I think that was a nice one for him. Then we'd probably see him in the next one. And I'm pretty much, I'd put money on that he's in Columbus. I agree with you, Kurt, that we got to play the backup. Number one, we're also going to run into problems if Skinner gets hurt somewhere down the line, like we have basically a cold number 2 goalie, right? And then we're going to have to start talking about a possible goaltending issue. Right now, Pickard is doing a great job as a number 2 guy. Skinner, of course, is playing Vesna-like at the moment. But he's going to need to see some pucks here just so he can get into that zone.
Thoughts, Lynn?
I almost feel like they might, like, if they're going to start him tomorrow night, I'm thinking maybe Saturday afternoon might be an option too, because they play Nashville Saturday, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe Skinner plays Thursday, and then maybe they'll, maybe Pickard will have get another game in on Saturday afternoon.
That's an interesting thought.
Or on the flip side, they play Pickard on and that way Skinner isn't playing like evening to morning. Mind you, there's a day in between there, I suppose. So it's a full day's rest.
Do you guys take a little bit more out of beating Toronto or Calgary? We'll go reverse this way. We'll go Lynn, Bob, and then Kerr.
Sorry, no, go. I didn't hear the question. I had a something going on here.
Yeah, you get more enjoyment out of beating the Leafs earlier in the week or the Flames on Saturday night?
The Leafs.
I'm with you. I think kind of because that game was a little bit more of a comeback too, and kind of was in jeopardy for a bit. I don't think that Flames game was really ever in jeopardy.
And there's just something so satisfying about quietening that crowd down.
Yeah, they're harder to take than Flames fan, and that's saying a lot.
It's always Flames to me. Like the Calgary games are like those are our little mini Stanley Cup games. Just anything to shut down our rivals is just pure gold enjoyment for me. The Leafs this time around for me was a very close second because I happened to be at the Leafs game, so that atmosphere in that game was just insane with the gang wars that were happening in the crowd between the Leaf fans and the Oilers fans. It was great to see them walk out all dejected. Like it was a beautiful moment.
100% Leafs. They are in the prophetic center of the hockey universe, and they figure that they're God. And it's on a daily occurrence. I open up X or Twitter, what you want to call it, and they're just about as deplorable as Canucks fans. Like, it's, oh, look at us. Oh, we won last night. We beat the Kraken. Good for you. And you're barely hanging on for your playoff lives. Your coach is about ready to be fired. And you guys seem to it's almost like once you're up about 2 or 3 goals, you take your foot off the gas, and then the Flames, I have a certain amount of disdain for the Flames as well, but Toronto takes the cake.
Let me put it this way. Let me ask you this way. If the Flames and the Leafs are playing each other, who do you root for?
Sorry, say that again. No, you broke up.
If the Flames and the Leafs play against each other, who do you root for?
I hope they both lose. I really don't care.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Flames playing the Canucks or the Toronto playing the Canucks. Same thing. It's just those 3 teams. And when it comes to like Winnipeg, Ottawa, Montreal is my second favorite team, believe it or not. And anybody else, like I'll kick back and listen, or watch or whatever, but when it comes to Toronto and Calgary and Vancouver, I hope they all lose.
Did you guys happen to see the graphic that Megan Chayka tweeted out today about the defensive stats the last 28 games versus the first 13?
Yeah, we're almost leading in a ton of categories. Yeah, I did catch that briefly today. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was to be sort of 5th across the board, and scoring chances, high danger chances, goals. It's really incredible when they were in 30th in most of those categories in the first 13 games.
Kevin on YouTube says pray the roof falls when the Leafs and Flames are playing. My attitude towards that is the team that needs the points more in that matchup, I hope they lose.
Whoever it hurts more, right? I think it's interesting that so broke down the segment, 8-game segments, right? Those press conferences, he said if we go 5-3 throughout these segments, then that should be enough to get us in these into the playoffs. Well, the Calgary game was our third 8-game segment since that happened, and they've gone 8-0, 5-3, 8-0. So I think that's pretty impressive 8-game segments. And that 7-3 one, we actually lost the first 3 of the 8-game segment and rattled off 5 straight.
This was fun to make today. I did like a little calendar and I put guys' pictures and stuff on it, but the month started out with a 5-2 win over the Flyers, 3-1 over the Sens, 2-1 over the Hawks, 3-2 over the Wings, 2-1 over the Habs in overtime, 4-2 over the Leafs, 4-2 over Seattle, 3-1 over the Flames, and then this week we see 7:00 against Columbus tomorrow night. Thursday, 7:00 against the Hawks, and like Lynn mentioned, 2:00 in the afternoon on Saturday against the Preds, and then they're sort of off for a week again. So this club is a wagon. They are rolling along, and I guess that'll segue us into what transpired today and kind of news kind of broke yesterday. I've got another little graphic along with a little video.
Good try, we can get you. That's the hook. That is penalty.
And holy shit, is that coming hot out of the stereo? I don't know if that blew anybody else's eardrums, but it was sure loud on mine. But yeah, the Oilers finally made it official. They had signed Corey Perry, so we got the shit disturber, that playoff guy that is a pain in the ass to play against. And I don't know if all you guys watched his press conference today, but for a guy that plays on the edge and plays a gruff style, he sure is a soft-spoken guy, which kind of surprised me, but because I guess I didn't listen to him talk that much before and just watched him play. I know Lynn's opinion of this guy is going to be different than probably everybody else on the planet, so we'll let her go first, and then go to Kirk, and then Bob, and then I'll go.
Okay, well, I'm going to be a little careful about what I say, because the last time
You don't have to be.
Just let her rip, Lynn. Just let her rip.
Signed. Let me tell you, that was 2 years ago, and I'm still paying for it today. So, I'll say this: I found his honesty about, seeking support and his battle with mental health compelling. I've been pretty honest that I too have received treatment for anxiety due to stress a couple of years ago, and many years before that. So I can sympathize with him. And, at the end of the day, if he can come in and, fit the spot that they need in the roster, then that's great.
Yeah, Corey Perry, the hockey player, I have all the time for. He's, like you said, he's a shit disturber. He gets in your face. I'm just, when he played for Anaheim there in 2017, just the worst. And he's kind of like Zach Cassian in a way. He's kind of like Evander Kane. He plays with an edge. And when he's on your team, it's kind of like along the lines of like Brad Marchand, just that nervy player that just gets in your face. And I absolutely love that. He brings another dimension to, and another addition of sandpaper to the lineup. He's got concrete boots now. He can't skate like he used to, but he can score. And then the one comment that blew me away there in the media availability there today, he mentioned that, or somebody mentioned there, I forget who, if it was Reed Wilkins or whoever, his regular season production is lesser than his playoff production is in scoring goals and whatnot. And he just said there's a different air to breathe in. The air smells different, he says. And he mentioned about his time there with Tampa Bay. John Cooper asked him, what's going on? And he just said, it's playoff hockey. He said, I'm ready to go. Corey Perry, the person, I'm not going to comment. But you know what? I have to agree with Lynn. It sounded like he was sincere in his availability there today. I deal with anxiety on a daily basis, so I know where, I know what that feels like, and tending to lean on alcohol at times or whatever else, whatever coping mechanisms you have to use. I can understand where the dam breaks, and you got to cut her loose. And I've actually quit drinking alcohol here for just I've had to think about 4 drinks here in the last 5 months. So, and I haven't touched a drink since Christmas Eve, and I feel 100 times better now. And I hope that clarity with him, like with, getting the proper treatment and whatnot, I hope that does well for him. And I'm pretty sure that going forward, he has the proper support there, even if it's from his family or his friends or his teammates, the whole 9 yards.
I guess I'm gonna speculate here on something, but I got the sense listening to that there's been a lot that's went on with Corey Perry that we didn't get any wind of. I think he's been struggling with alcoholism and been kind of a functioning, I don't want to call him an alcoholic, but you kind of get that sense that he'd been battling with this demon for a long time. Like, that looked like a guy that, has had something happen to him that he's not proud of, but he's wanted to change. And I got the sense that it was sincere. I appreciated that interview very soft-spoken guy and didn't come across as an arrogant asshole. And I can appreciate that. And Edmonton's kind of been the home for reclamation projects, starting with MacT back in the day. And it's always seemed to sort of work out for them. They've never really had one that I can recall that's really backfired. The only thing that may be viewed as a bit of a mistake was giving Cassian, the big contract. But, as far as him becoming like that cancer or whatever you're worried about in the locker room, that didn't seem to be the case. Guys seem to really take a shine to Zach Cassian, and same thing sort of appears to be the case with Kane, and it definitely was the case with MacT back in the day. If the biggest backfire they've had on taking on reclamation projects is a couple of words by Kane in the media, I think they're doing okay. So I'm open to Perry. I mean, as far as the player goes, I mean, like I said last time, he's like, if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing, and that's Corey Perry. I mean, every rule there is, he's gonna stretch to the limit and then some, and dare officials to send him to the box. That's the type of player he is, and I think that's kind of the player you need in the playoffs. The guy that's basically willing to do just about anything to win hockey games, and that's, I think, what the Edmonton Oilers really are all about. It's about trying to win hockey games and win a Stanley Cup, and putting him in your lineup, I think, makes you a little bit harder to play against and might get you a little bit closer.
We don't know the whole story either.
No, not at all.
We do know as much as that was, alcohol was involved, and obviously Perry has admitted that he had been struggling with it. But I find that a lot of the narrative that we're seeing online, is very similar than what the whole Evander Kane incident was. I mean, Kane had a lot of off-ice issues to the point where, San Jose terminates his contract, right?
Yeah.
Perry has off-ice issues here. And if I'm not mistaken, this is actually the first off-ice controversy Corey Perry's had in his career that we've heard of, right? And he's had a long career.
I don't remember any. Sorry, Bob. Yeah. I don't remember anything else being made of Corey Perry really ever. So it's,
I think the similarity here between him and Kane is a lot, because these are both guys that I think are relishing the chance that, there was a chance they might never play in the league, right? So now they have this again. So now they have that opportunity to get this, second chance or what have you, and not only just a second chance, but with a really great team that has a really great prospect. So I think that gets them fired up and gets them back on the right track as well. And Corey Perry as a player, like all you have said, is he's gonna be so valuable in the role that he plays, and his secondary scoring. I know, like, his points per game and goals per game were the highest he's been in Chicago since he left Anaheim. He was playing 14 minutes a game there. He won't be seeing that kind of ice time here, but if we get 8 to 10 goals from him, I think in the next little while, that'll give him double goals on the year since he got 4 with Chicago. So now we have another double-digit goal guy in the bottom 6. And just the intangibles, like you mentioned there, was the fact that he's his sandpaper. And is he going to take some stupid penalties? Yeah, he's going to take some stupid penalties. Our penalty kill is pretty heads up right now. We're okay. But the intangible of him throwing the other team off their game and him being a distraction to them is going to outweigh some of the stupid penalties he'll take to get that accomplished.
It just adds another dimension. It will sadden me a little bit if Sam Gagner is the guy that has to take a seat here, but having a little extra depth, I think, is a good thing. I want to go to something else that's going on too, and that's hopefully I pull up the right graphic, but that's kind of what's taking place down in Bakersfield right now too. It's not only the big club that's rocking right now. The Condors and the Oilers combined, I can't really read it. Can you guys read it for me?
You bet. The Soup has been playing hot. Canada's 8-3-0 with a 2.66 goals against average and 9.21 save percentage. That's just about Soup, but that goes along with what the Condors are doing, though.
It talks about top left corner, I can't read it because stuff's over top on my end, but it talks about the Oilers and Condors combined record over 26 games. I can't quite read it. I don't know if you guys can.
23 and 2.
Yeah.
23-1-2 over 26 games. Is that good?
Yeah. So both clubs are on a tear, and the Condors scored 13 goals in less than 24 hours. Yeah, we did that. And I had the video there, but it was like 6.5 minutes. So I just posted the graphic because it was too long. But I mean, both teams are on fire, and now Campbell is almost, I think, pushing his way into the conversation of what do we do here with this guy. I mean, I look at it like, and neither one of you were willing to answer me in the group chat, but I wonder if, if a 940 down in the AHL kind of converts to a 920 up in the NHL, and if he gets that 920 that he's at right now in the AHL up to 940, if he forces the issue and forces a recall, to come back and see how he does.
How about go ahead there, Len? I feel like you're, I can't see you right now, but I maybe have a few words to say about the whole situation there with their goaltending.
I mean, sorry, I don't know if you guys could hear that. Apparently my dog has an opinion as well, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably better than mine.
Kennedy's singing here in the background. I really, man, this is a tough one because I would love to see him come back and redeem himself, but I really don't think we want to mess with what's going on right now. And Pickard has looked great the games that he's played in. And how do you pull him out of how well he's played? I don't know. There is no easy answer. It certainly wasn't where I expected that we would end up.
No.
Especially when Jack first went down, right? Like,
yep,
that was scary. And I almost to the point where I was fearful at one point for him to even continue playing because it just seemed like he had such a tough road when he went back down. So it's amazing that he seems to have found his game, but does that mean we automatically, or, that they automatically bring him back up? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I felt bad for him as well because he's a very super likable guy, great guy to have in the dressing room or on your team as a whole. B, his technical application in the game, he's got great technique. It's just like you said there, the mental health aspect is what you worry about because you let in a bad goal and it's like you're in quicksand. It keeps adding on and on and on, and you can't get out of that jam. And I think I'm all for the redemption tour, and if he does come back, I'm all for supporting him. But it sounded like in the presser when somebody asked there today, I think it was from the Edmonton Hive or the Daily Hive from the Edmonton reporter there, and he said, "What's your take on the current goaltending situation at Ken Holland?" And he just said, "We love our situation right now. It's a nice problem to have, but do you really mess with a winning formula right now? That's the biggest question out of all." What do you figure there, Bob?
Well, first off, you guys are banging on. You don't mess the winning formula, and right now we are winning. So this isn't even a matter of discussion at this point, because in a 13-game winning streak or what have you, even if it's like 18 of 20, whatever that, you don't. But we are going to lose games, and we're even though I predict on Twitter is we're going to go 65, 15, and 1 the rest of the way to finish the season. But no, the law of numbers say we're going to lose games, and plus this is a pretty easy part of the schedule. We're playing some of the weaker teams, and we're days off in between. Now on the back end of it, we're going to get some more back back-to-back games. And like we've mentioned before, we don't want to be riding Skinner the whole way through. If Pickard keeps doing what he's doing, I think we're fine. But I would not be surprised if Jack Campbell keeps what he's doing. Is that like in Bakersfield, that he gets a call up, he's going to play himself into that, and earn that right, and he's going to get one more shot at seeing what he can do at the NHL level. Plus, if he does well there, maybe that's also easier to trade him if that's the route you want to go, right? If we showcase him a little bit, other teams are watching, like Carolina, for instance, who's struggling with goaltending. Maybe there's some options there. Also, we can't throw Rodrigo out the window neither. He's got, I think, the best save percentage right now in the AHL behind Jesper Wallstedt, I guess, is the other guy that we passed on. So he's also earned the right to maybe get a game or two in yet up on the show. So we actually have right now, the way Campbell's playing, 4 really good goalies in the system, and Holland is right. That's a good problem to have. These should be difficult decisions to make. But for the time being, on this winning streak, yeah, you don't mess with it. Why would you? We're already messing with it by putting Gagne in, by putting Holloway in, by putting now Perry in. They're all bottom 6 guys, but they all have impact on the game. And so that already goes with suspicion that they don't touch the lineup at all. Every time, just make a way to find a way to make the team a bit better each game. And that's what Knobloch's doing. So I respect that. But overall, you don't make big changes during this time.
Yeah, I still think like if Campbell can, and it'll probably take him like another 10 or 15 games to get that save percentage from 920 to 940, then I think that opens the door for Ken Holland to either give him a look with this club or be able to trade him. I mean, because I think that in my head, I think that does sort of translate to a 920 NHL kind of save percentage. Like I really believe that it will step up there. So I think Lynn stepped out and stepped back in. And Steph Boyko says, will Corey Perry potentially finish his hockey career in Edmonton? I could see that guy playing for another 3 years, honestly. But I think with Edmonton, it's just, let's see how this goes and then evaluate from there. I think it's just, he's got this season here to be here. He's here on league minimum. And I think he's kind of that guy that they think gives them that playoff Stanley Cup, caliber experience and all that and leadership. And, I think this is a one-off in Edmonton. I would be surprised if they brought him back next year. I mean, there's going to be other decisions they're going to have to make, like guys like Raphael Lavoie, Carter Savoy. There's going to be some guys, down on the farm that are going to force their way into the lineup. So I think this is kind of what you're going to see from Corey Perry, but I think they evaluate game by game and see what his little tenure here is gonna bring and go from there.
He's got to be one of the rental signings for teams, right? I mean, he's been in the finals now, but he plays a role each time. He's been to the finals. What is it? The last 3 in a row he's been in the finals. Yeah. So he does his job, and so yeah, I think you're right. I think we see him for probably another 3 years in the NHL, but on 3 different teams on these kind of deals.
On the Campbell, like to close that out, Kevin says there's 5 million reasons probably to give him a look or to evaluate. I mean, Lotzi on Sunday when we were on to talk about the writing was on the wall that Corey Perry was going to be a done deal, but it wasn't officially confirmed yet. Anyway, Lotzi talked about Holland has to move Campbell, and I never got the chance to ask the question. Okay, so what does that actually mean? How do you make that actually happen? Because to me, that's you're parting with a lot of future to move that contract. Even though he's playing better on the farm, I still don't think there's suitors chomping at the bit right now because they're like us. They're unsure. What is he going to be like? If you do call him up, is it just going to go south again, or is it going to be fine? Like it's a huge unknown, right? I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's found his NHL game. Right now, he's found his AHL game. So
well, and the other question you have to ask is he willing to give up his no move clause? Is he willing to waive it? He has the hammer when it comes to that stuff. maybe he turns around and says, no, I don't want to get traded. I want to stay with the club. Then you got no choice, right? You have to keep him there. But I hope he does. I hope he does make an appearance again here this year. I really do. I'm probably in the minority that when you say that, but yeah, it's a tough call. But once again, you don't mess with the winning formula. And I could see Calvin Pickard staying here for the rest of the year too.
Yeah.
And maybe get Rodriguez for a game or two, run 3 goalies, but I don't know how you'd have to make that happen. You'd probably have to send somebody else down to the farm and pass through waivers. And that's tough enough as it is.
I think you can have 3 goalies on your playoff roster. So maybe that's the Olivier Rodriguez, but I mean, to play a playoff game as your first game in the pros, I don't think that's happening either. But I guess, you're practicing with the team and all that. I've got one more question, and then we'll close down, and we'll start with Lynn, and then go to Bob, and then to Kirk. Are your feelings about this team being a Stanley Cup contender, back like they were in the summer? How do you feel about that, Lynn?
I mean, what they've been able to string together in the last few weeks has really been impressive. And when I think about it, I really think more in terms of what it would do for the city and our community on the whole to have a deep Stanley Cup run, to restaurant and bar owners that have struggled so much through COVID. And, how great that would be for them to have places that are full with people going out and enjoying the games. And there's so many more elements to a deep run in that sense, hotels maybe being a little more full, and when a sports team, no matter who it is, has playoff success, it just causes a ripple effect in the community that they play in. If I'm being honest, have my feelings changed about it? Like I was saying earlier to you guys, I had no superstitions, I have no rituals, and I really don't have a ton of expectations. Certainly less so now that I'm no longer a season ticket holder. So I just think it would be great overall to see them have a deep run for everybody. The players it's really impressive when you think about it, because there were times not that long ago when you'd open Oilers Twitter and
Yep.
A huge tire fire. Yep.
Yeah. So it's actually been, dare I say, fun to be on it lately, and to, if that's the worst thing, like, I think we can stop arguing about everything else and just enjoy the run.
It's coming back like a cockroach as soon as they drop the first game.
Right? I usually,
the sky's falling.
I'll be honest with you, I've taken to just staying off if they don't win.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm like, I'm out. I don't need it.
It's the best mental health check I think a person can do.
Exactly.
What do you figure, Bob?
Well, Len, you have such a heart of gold. Bless you for saying the stuff. You have such a good idea. The big picture is saying stuff like it'll be good for the bars and stuff after COVID. I mean, that's like, you have a good view of the big picture. I'm too narrow-minded and think hockey only. I think sometimes when it comes to playoff runs and our hockey team. This is easy to say for a 13-game winning streak, but I'm going to say it anyways. I never once gave up on the fact that the Oilers are going to make the playoffs and still make a Stanley Cup run. The team is just, like, the core of it's just too good. Like, basically the same pieces for the most part were in place to begin this season. We just really shit start there. That first 15 games, it was just atrocious, and it was mind-boggling why that was happening. It couldn't keep that. That was the anomaly. We had like, I think it was like 4 or 5 4 to 5 game winning streaks last season. That was more the norm. Like, these winning streaks are more the norm. Maybe not as atrociously big as they are now, but like, these winning streaks are more the norm than the losing streak we had in the first 15 games there. So I just believing there's some way we're going to figure this out. I didn't think it would be a rookie coach coming in from from AHL there to from another franchise to help turn the ship around or anything like that. But man, when you got guys like McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard, and Hyman, and Nurse, like how can you keep losing? You can't keep losing with those guys. So I've already got my Stanley Cup parade route out and my launcher already in place, and I'm ready for this now.
I was just gonna say, losing sucks, especially when you're a fan and you're a huge fan like the Oilers, to the Oilers club itself. I had to take a big picture approach when they were in the depths of hell there with the losing streak. And I remember Frank Saravalli on Daily Faceoff Live there. He was talking with Tyler Yaremchuk, and he said, I don't think this team is broken. They're just lost. And then he piped in with, the Ekholm injury there, the hip flexor. And then he talked about Connor McDavid being, injured as well, right off the hop. I think Leon Draisaitl was nursing something there too, and so is Evander Kane. I think he's still nursing an injury, to tell you the truth. But yeah, was I 100%, all in? I had high hopes. There was no cautious optimism this, in the summer. I figured, what, this team is the real deal. But it's come, you're going to expect highs and lows throughout a season. It's how high the highs are and how low the lows are. And you know what? Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that it happened right off the hop of the season, rather than that December, January lull. That every club kind of goes through or whatever. You're going to have that low point. But I think right now, you can't say no. Like what are they going to win the Stanley Cup this year? I don't know. It's like that every year. All the teams that make it to the playoffs are damn good. Like parity, it's wafer thin. But do they have a good shot? I would say yes.
Well, Lynn and Jen, I want to thank you both, although Jen isn't here, but
you should put up the graphic for that women's line again, Dursa.
Yeah, I can put my background a little different. 1 second.
Lynn, I just want to mention that good luck for the girls' night again that's coming up in April there. I'm sure that if you need help or assistance, like running around or what have you, I know you probably have a shitload of volunteers, but I'll throw my hat in the ring if you ever need anything. I'm sure anybody from the Heavy Hockey Network, Heavy Hockey Network would also be willing to chip in. I'll go all the way up to and including jumping out of a cake for you guys if need be, but hopefully it wouldn't have to be that drastic.
Well, we may just take you up on that, because we seem to always think we have a handle on it, and then 4 days before we do have a lot of running around that we need to get done. And like I said, we'll come back on the week before, and hopefully I'll talk to MJ and see if we can get her on the show too. And again, you guys, I can't thank you enough for the work you've been doing. And
lost your audio for a sec there, Lynn.
And I think I can, safely speak for Mary Jane when I say, like, it's so impressive what you guys have been able to do as well. And it just goes so far with that organization. So you guys should be really proud of what you've been able to do.
Well, like the old Nike commercial, there is no finish line for us. So we keep trying to improve on what we've done and not rest on our laurels, and keep making it bigger and better each time around. Thanks again for coming on. So we'll be back.
I think the world of you.
Well, thank you very much. I think pretty highly of you too, Lynn. So thanks again for coming on and joining us, and definitely we'll get you back just before the ladies' night. I guess I should announce too that something major happened in the AJHL with some teams exiting for next season to go to the BCHL, and next Monday, I believe, all things being equal, my friend that is the commissioner of that hockey league, the AEHL, I think it was, Aaron Rollick will come back because he's got some insight to what happened with the AJHL and what's going to happen with the BCHL in the future. He's got some ideas of things that are going to transpire there that are pretty interesting and kind of make my head shake as a long-time Alberta hockey player, in this province. But it seems like the winds of change are on the horizon. So that's going to be an interesting talk. And Aaron's fairly animated, and he was on, I think it was just before Jay got canned or just after. So a lot's happened since then in for the Edmonton Oilers and I guess the AJHL. So that's going to be a good episode. And tonight was a lot of fun with Lynn and Jen. I guess I'll leave saying keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, go Oilers, go. I'll throw up my graphic for my page. It's my turn now, Bob. And then I'll close this down. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Good viewership tonight. Tell all your friends, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your audio podcasts. Spotify is pretty cool because you can watch video and audio all at the same time, or here on YouTube. And thanks, Steph, for watching on Facebook. We're Facebook Live too. I mean, this enterprise is getting bigger, and our little show's starting to grow, and we appreciate it. So like I always say, keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers, go. Hopefully we're talking about 3 more wins heading into the All-Star break, and Dash's prediction comes to fruition, and hopefully he's cutting us all a check for I don't know how much, because hopefully he put some money down.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for doing this, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, Jen.
If you guys want to scan my barcode, Bob's is a little bit fancier than mine. He had a little dinosaur on his, but that would be mine. And maybe I'll just show Bobby's one more time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. There's Bobby's page. So February 24th, we have our silent auction, raffles, and kind of a watch party for the Oilers and Flames that night. And then on the 25th, the Sunday, we have the Heavy Hockey Showdown. And I stay overnight in Edmonton to recover so I can drive home and not have to work on Monday. Now it's time for everybody's favorite cool down music, and we're out. Good night.
Good night.